About 3 months ago, it was September 10th, 2025, I got a text message from my brother, and he goes, Charlie Kirk was killed. I'd never heard of Charlie Kirk. So I looked into it, like, why is he messaging me that? Like, who's Charlie Kirk? I've been following the case ever since. And from the very beginning, it was clear to me that his wife betrayed him. He was very much in love with his wife. And from the very beginning, I think she was a CIA asset. I'm sad to say, because from what Candace Owens said, he really loved her. And just from what I've come to piece together from Charlie Kirk, not having watched his talks and so on, is that he was a very lighthearted, extroverted, good-hearted person who at a very young age was very much pro-Israel, as many people here are. And he was very curious. He was a very full-of-life person, which is why they kind of took him on to lead this organization, these donors who eventually ended up being part of his, in my opinion, demise. And he was able to draw in this young crowd because young people love someone who's honest and authentic and curious and asks questions and debates them. He just had that skill. And his views on life, as many of us do, were starting to change. He was very pro-Israel. Are we allowed to say that on YouTube? He was very pro-Israel. And then after October 7th, he started asking questions because it came out that they had a stand-down order. Anyway, I'm not going to go into all that. He started questioning Israel. And that's when he started getting a lot of pressure from his donors, because you see his donors, who are the pro-Zionists, they liked him and started funding him because they saw that he was able to reach the young male group, Republicans. I guess that's a very important political base. I didn't know that. And he was traveling all over the country speaking on college campuses. So they loved him. But when he started questioning them, the pressure was on. And he started noticing financial improprieties, and he wanted to do an audit. And all the stuff was going on. And then on December 10th, and well, I'm assuming that you have already followed the case. I'm not here to explain the case. I'm here to tell you what I think about what happened is that Charlie Kirk was this very good-hearted, authentic person who loved the truth. This is why Candace Owens loves him. She's that way too, in my opinion. Could be wrong. But they were really good friends, like brother and sister. And when he built this organization, or the organization built him, because they used him as a tool. That's what I want to say. He was used. He was this very good-hearted, kind person who was used as a tool by his donors, his employees, and his wife, and the government. And they all betrayed him. Because when he was no longer willing to support the Zionist cause, when he started asking questions as part of his own curiosity and journey, they got rid of him. They assassinated him in public. And the government is giving us a cover story the same way they did with John F. Kennedy. But they forgot about social media. My only question is, why are Twitter and YouTube allowing us to question the Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson narrative? We know this country is run by Zionists. They control our wars, everything. Everything. They spy on our bases, the Israelis. And they own our media. They own everything. But why is Google and Elon Musk, why are they allowing us to question the government narrative? Because the government cover-up is so obvious, nobody believes that Tyler Robinson actually did it. So we are seeing a reenactment of the John F. Kennedy assassination in our lifetime. Because I didn't know this, but Charlie Kirk is that big. He is that big, and especially among the young men in their 20s, they all know about Charlie Kirk. People my age following the cover-up, because we remember JFK. And TPUSA, Charlie Kirk's organization, is like scrambling. And what really got me, I was just listening to this podcaster, Baron Coleman, and one of the comments he was just reading, I was already getting ready to go to bed. I already took my contacts out, I brushed my teeth. I'm like, I have to make a video. Because Baron Coleman got this comment that said that TPUSA was sold to Salem Media Group. And Baron Coleman said, you mean the Israel-owned organization? He goes, I don't have time to look into it now. I'm doing the podcast. I'll look into this later. So I just looked it up. And if you look up Salem Media Group, it shows Turning Point USA. They own it. And here's the thing I want to say. They have twisted Charlie Kirk's legacy. Not only are we seeing through this whole thing that the government is deceiving us because they're covering it up. Even Candace Owens has found out that the French government, the French Legion, and they have a Ukrainian soldier, probably one of those Nazi guys, in her hometown now. She has received assassination threats, and the government is doing nothing about the assassination threats. Like, they, in the past, would just kill people. Well, now these people have a platform, and we see through the government propaganda. But also, Charlie Kirk was used as a tool and betrayed by all the people that he loved, that he counted on. His security guard, Dan Flood, who's no longer on the website, Brian Harpole, who was at that secret meeting in Fort Huachuca the day before, Erica Kirk, his wife, who was an asset from the beginning, in my opinion. Don't sue me, anyone. These are just my opinions. And the whole organization, which at the end of his life, Charlie Kirk was saying, I'm not going to let people tell me what to say. These Jewish donors are getting very demanding. And the day before he was assassinated, he was texting people, tomorrow they're going to kill me. He was questioning the Israel cause, and he was a Catholic. And now that he's dead, and this isn't really the main point that I'm trying to make about the government betraying us, but this is how he was betrayed. If you care about like relationships, he trusted all these people, but they were not only responsible, in my opinion, for killing him, because look at how they're covering it up and being evasive and have sketchy answers to everything. TPUSA, the organization, not only are they covering up any questioning, but they're twisting his legacy from this person who was questioning everything and questioning Israel and telling Trump not to invade Iran. And they're making him into this pro-Zionist and selling his organization out to Salem Media Group and still publishing stuff under the Charlie Kirk show. His wife, Erica Kirk, took over as CEO, and she's emotionally manipulating people by saying, I'm a grieving widow. Don't ask questions because it's offensive. It's my righteous anger. I want to see this woman cry. She's the Judas. She's so obvious. But Charlie Kirk loved her, and he trusted all those people, I think. And here it is. Like, he was this really good-hearted person. Everyone just used him. And I think that she was like a honeypot. She's very pretty, and she's very charming. And I always think that you have to be careful of people like that. But how could he have known that she would betray him like that? And I'm not saying that she pulled the trigger. Obviously, she wasn't there. But I think she was in on it because there was a pretty woman in that Fort Huachuca meeting in that area. And the way she's acting is very odd. She acts happy that he's gone, and she acts very offended. She got offended today. She went all over the news stations because yesterday Candace Owens reported on a tip about that meeting in Fort Huachuca where Brian Harpole was and a Secret Service guy with a pretty woman. And I bet Candace knows who that pretty woman is, and she didn't say because she likes to drop the receipts slowly. But today Erica comes out. Maybe she wasn't the pretty woman, but Brian Harpole was in on it. And she says, "I'm the grieving widow. That's my husband. People better just stop talking about him." You know, he loved her and she betrayed him. And so, you know, I think people have to not project their goodness onto other people. I think we have to really evaluate people for who they are. And if you are rich and have power, people can use you. Like, people used Charlie Kirk because he was so magnetic and he was able to reach people. But unlike our politicians who reach people and have power through their money and their influence and their evil, I think Charlie Kirk was actually good. I think he was a good person. Tell me if I'm wrong. I know that people say, I don't even know all the stuff he said. I guess some of it was kind of like negative or controversial. But he was just this young kid when he said a lot of things. I think he was 32 when he died. And he was very naive about many things. It seemed like he was honestly questioning things and looking for the truth. And he was surrounded by people who wanted access to him because he was able to reach the hearts of men, young men. And young men are smart. You cannot bullshit them. They were drawn to him because he was full of life and he was engaging with them and letting them talk and ask questions and challenging their views. And they liked that. How many people can draw a college crowd? I mean, if you're a singer, maybe. He was just some guy talking, drawing huge crowds among young men. I think that's pretty good. And he was doing it in a way that wasn't like sketchy or evil, like, sorry, Trump or Biden or all of these guys. He seemed like he was actually a good guy. And Trump is not. The other tangent I'm going to go off is that I thought that maybe Trump was an outsider because, 8 years of lawfare and promising, I'm going to release the Epstein files, the JFK files. And I thought, why not? Just release a bunch of files. Why hasn't anyone done it? Because that's where all the secrets are buried. And once he got in office, he's like, what files? Epstein? It's nothing to see. Kennedy, they gave us a bunch of bullshit. He was going to stop the wars. Now he's got like a bunch of ships down in Venezuela trying to take their oil, possibly. So, he's just another crook. They're all crooks. They're all crooks. And these crooks were in on getting rid of Charlie Kirk because he was messing with their plans. And that's why they're trying to assassinate Candace Owens. And that's why Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson, even though they support Candace Owens and won't say anything against her, are not speaking out so much against all of this or Israel because they don't want to be assassinated. Okay, you speak out against, the last person who publicly spoke out against Israel was John F. Kennedy Jr. He was speaking against Israel. He wanted to get rid of nuclear weapons, and he was assassinated. And he was the last president to ever dare. And they can do it. And they can cover it up. But the great thing now is that because of social media, they can no longer cover it up. And we see their entire scam narrative. Well, people always knew the JFK story, assassination story, murder story was bullshit, but we could never prove it. And now we have them under our thumb. They know we see through them. We know they're lying. We know the government was in on it. We know the government is covering it up. And we see all the people involved. It's a big operation with lots of meetings, many people involved. So I guess this video was mainly what I wanted to talk about was that Charlie Kirk was really betrayed by the people he loved, and they took his legacy of questioning everything and trying to get Israel out of our government, and they twisted around to make Israel be in our government. They completely twisted him, and they took his last words and they basically shit on it, you know, and they are, his wife, widow, is saying that he was observing the Sabbath when he was actually a Christian. Not that I care. I have a Jewish friend. I like Jewish people. I've worked for a Jewish boss. It's a very beautiful religion. I just don't like the Zionists. They're like a terrorist group. Am I allowed to say that on YouTube? I don't even know. I got a strike for saying during COVID that the drug companies fund 1/3 of the FDA and the CDC, and I wasn't going to wear a mask. I was saying something like that. And I got a strike, and I never dared say it again after. They were controlling our speech, but they're not controlling our speech now. Why is that? I don't trust these people. Why is Google and why is Elon Musk allowing us to question the government narrative on the most impactful political assassination in 50 years? That's what this is. And during COVID, they silenced us. And they could do it again, but they're not. Okay, Candace Owens, who's the only one or the main person investigating this, she has 5 million followers on YouTube, I think, 7 million on Twitter. I might have that reversed. They could demonetize her like they did with Jackson Hinkle. He's back on YouTube. Is it because these oligarchs that own YouTube and Twitter want us to know the truth? Why do they want us to know the truth? Do they want us to form a new political party? I don't know. I'm just surprised they're allowing it because the government is trying to silence it, and Candace Owens has legitimate information on the French government wanting to assassinate her. And the FBI is doing nothing. Only Tulsi Gabbard's office is responding. They would love her to be silenced. Anyway, this is kind of a depressing video. The other video I'd wanted to make for a while was how the Charlie Kirk assassination is opening our eyes to the corruption of our government. Because they lied to us. It was not Tyler Robinson. That's very obvious. Again, I'm speaking to people who are already following the case. I'm not going to lay it all out and make it like a super long video. The government is obviously lying. And we're seeing it in real time, how they're responding by saying, this is the guy who did it. Trust us. Or saying nothing. Or calling people or asking questions names. And we're seeing how it doesn't make sense. And we have, Candace has this email for her tip line. People are emailing her. And then other people on Twitter are giving information and relaying videos. And it's like we've crowdsourced the investigation. You know, we've crowdsourced it. You know how the FBI always gives you a tip line. They get so many tips and they research them and some of them lead somewhere. Well, Candace got a tip the other day. that came like from God. And I'm going to say from God because there is such a thing as what I call support of nature. She calls it God. I call it support of nature. Like sometimes nature gives you a little boost to help you get, you know, that job or that house you wanted, or you finally get pregnant. Sometimes you get these little boosts. You just happen to meet this great guy. Well, she got a little boost because the top email was the one with this great tip. Anyway, we are seeing the government exposed in real time, and they are not even responding to this person that is investigating it. And the government is not investigating it. So we have crowdsourced. Candace calls them mommy sleuths. They're daddy sleuths. We've crowdsourced the whole investigation. And some of these tips turn out to be really good, like the one she got in that email. And then other people are like, oh, and this. And then other people are like, oh, yeah, and that, and that. And then people, you know, instead of having the FBI with maybe 50 people on the staff, we've got like hundreds or thousands of people all over the country contributing to her investigation. It's really, really cool. But why are Google and Twitter allowing it? So I guess, okay, 3 points for this video that I've been wanting to make for a long time. The one that I made on an emotional level tonight was how Charlie Kirk was so deceived by the people he loved and how they twisted everything he stood for. He was such a good-hearted, curious person, evolving his views and being very authentic. And now that he's gone, they've gone a 180, and they're using his legacy to get money and power and Israeli influence, something he was very against. The second point I'd wanted to make a video about was how this Charlie Kirk case is helping us see the corruption in our government in real time and the kind of cover-ups they do and the kind of assassination plots they do. We're seeing them unravel in real time. This time they can no longer get away with it. I forgot my third point, honestly. I think I should probably just go to bed. But it was about how he was betrayed, how the government corruption is being exposed. Oh yeah, the third point. Why Google and Twitter, and maybe TikTok, I'm not sure, are allowing us to even have this discussion. So I'll check back for the comments. Thank you so much for watching my video.